General Committee meeting on Monday the 12th of August, Cowra Shire Council. In accordance with the Local Government Act, Cowra Council is recording General Committee and Council meetings. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded on Tuesday morning. By speaking at these meetings, you agree to being recorded. Please ensure that when you speak at this meeting, you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. Cowra Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this meeting. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Wiradjuri people, and pay our respects to elders, past, present and emerging. We have one apology from Director of Corporate Services, Graham Apthorpe, who's not working today. Any disclosures of interests?
Yes, Madam Mayor, if I may. 3.1, Japanese Gardens Cultural Centre for Sakura Matsuri Festival. Whilst I'm council delegate on that, I am the chairman of the board, so I will declare a non-pecuniary interest and leave the room.
Thank you, Councillor West. Any further declarations of interest, or everybody's okay? No public presentations, no public forum. The confirmation of the minutes of the General Committee meeting held on 8th of July 2024. Will I have somebody move that, please? Councillor Judy Smith and Councillor Downing. Thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried. Then we have the Director of Corporate Services, Councillor West, is leading the room. Donation to Cowra Japanese Garden and Cultural Centre for Sakura Matsuri Festival. Somebody move that. Councillor Judy Smith and Councillor Watt. Thank you. Councillor Smith, would you like to comment?
Briefly, this is something that we've done for a number of years. It accords with our policies. So, for example, 50% in terms of waste disposal costs, and we have also given a sum of money comparable to this in past years for the staging of the evening event at Sakura Matsuri.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Watt, would you like to comment?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just briefly, this is a fantastic event for our community and encouraging people to visit Cowra. It's an ongoing celebration of our special relationship with Japan, and a lot of the work in the lead up to Sakura Matsuri is taken on by the voluntary board. I know they put a lot of hours into the preparation and running of it for the day, so I think it's a great idea for us to support the Japanese Gardens in doing that.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. Any further comments? Councillor Downing.
I'm more than happy to support this, and I probably would have gone a little bit further and maybe given them all the money for the bins, seeing it brings a lot of money into our town, but I'm happy to go with what's been suggested. I'd just like to clarify the evening event. That's not going to be a mayoral reception, and none of us will be attending as councillors because no one will be sworn in at that time. Is that correct?
I'd say so.
I'd assume that would be the case, but I'll have to confirm that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. I'd say so.
That's correct. 24th of September, isn't it? Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, I'd just like to echo the words of my fellow councillors. This is one of Cowra's largest annual events, and it's recognised highlight of our relationship with Japan, attracting tourists from far and wide. I fully support this donation, and I look forward, hopefully, to attending in a personal capacity.
Thank you, Councillor Kiss. Any further comment? Councillor Wright.
Just a question. Does the $2,200 to assist with the cost, is that $2,000 plus GST, or is just $2,200 excluding GST? It just seems we'd give them $2,000 last year, and this year we've gone up to $2,200. Is that just a generosity, or?
I'll take that on notice. My understanding is that would be $2,200 plus GST, because in their application the amount they've sought is $2,200.
They've asked for 22. Thank you, Councillor Wright. Any further comment? Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Mayor Fagan. I suppose I'm echoing everyone else's comments that this is one of the major events in the town. The town benefits from it greatly, not just in the publicity, but also in the hospitality side of the town benefits to a major degree, and we have a habit of doing this for other people. I can't see why we wouldn't do it for the Japanese Gardens as an ongoing thing. They do a marvellous job in dragging people into the town, and you just hope that they stay overnight so we can get some more benefit out of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Any further comment? Councillor Watt, would you like a right of reply? Oh no, Councillor Smith, would you like right of reply? With a mouthful.
Thanks. I'll just say that I am imagining that the extra $200 requested is in line with costs going up and well, not just inflation, because things go up faster than inflation and so on.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Now we have the Councillor West coming back. Now we have number 3.2, the donation for the Cowra District Senior Citizens Club for water and sewerage access charges. Councillor Kiss and Councillor Smith, or Councillor Downing. Councillor Smith, you seconded? No, Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, Senior Citizens is a strong support network for many of our older community members. They rent a building from council and fundraise and seek grants to keep their members with a variety of educational and recreational opportunities. So I do support their request for donation for the water and sewer access charges. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Seconder?
Again, recognising that the senior citizens don't have a lot of money themselves, and don't have fundraising capabilities for this sort of amount. This is something that we have done many times, and I support it continuing.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Any further comment? Councillor Downing.
I would echo my former councillor's words, just that the senior citizens of the town, they provide a wide range of programs for residents, which is an accessible and friendly place for seniors to go, and I'm more than happy to support them.
Thank you. Further comment? Right of reply, Councillor Kiss. Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The number 3.3, the investments and financial report. Somebody move that. Councillor Paul Smith, Councillor Erin Watt, Councillor Smith.
Just as the monthly notice, not a lot has changed. I note the rates are coming in the usual manner, and I note that we've got a couple of our slightly lower deposits coming due for reinvestment in the next few days, and hopefully that'll be at a higher interest rate. So everything's positive in that matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To continue on from that, our average interest rate for council investments is currently 5.02%, which is in a very good position comparable to the average market interest rates articulated here. Hopefully, as Councillor Smith said, when we reinvest those that are coming up in the next few days, we will continue to get a high investment rate. This report also shows the closing of loan number 252 for the water treatment plan automation. Unfortunately, we still have a number of loans on our accounts with quite high investment interest rates of around 8%, which hopefully we can start to reduce.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. Any further comments? Councillor Downing.
I'd just like to point out three things that have made changes in the budget, which is the drop in income due to the review of the enclosed dedicated roads rental, which results in less income, but it's a better result for our ratepayers and the people who use that land. The extra costs we've incurred having to cover an amount of $40,000 to complete the Civic Centre theaterette, as we lost our deposit when a company went into receivership, which we may not get back. And then thirdly is the additional charge asked for by the New South Wales Government for our dams and surveillance inspection costs. And this is just one of a number of costs that the New South Wales Government has decided to cost shift to local councils, and which will affect local councils in every area going forward if they continue to cost shift to make their budgets balance. I'd just like to say that although our investments are doing well and we're getting great interest rates, that means that the community is having pressure put on them by higher interest rates for their loans. So perhaps I would like to suggest that although the rates are coming in well, really encourage any ratepayers who are having trouble to come and talk to the staff and make an arrangement and do something that's manageable for them.
Thank you, Councillor Downing. Any further comment? Councillor Paul Smith. Right of reply. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Now we have the Director of Environmental Services report, 4.1 on page 41, and the draft community participation plan. Somebody move that. Councillor, put your hand up again, one of you. Councillor Watt. Councillor Watt and Councillor Smith. Thank you. Just it was, you all put your hand up at once.
We're all just so excited about the settings around our DAs. No, actually, it is something I'm very excited about. Everyone knows I'm a nerd about these things. So we did not receive any. I didn't bring my planning documents today, so maybe I should have. So we've received no submissions in response to this plan. As articulated, there are only a few changes here, which are significant in terms of people's experience going forward, but are all quite reasonable, and hopefully the community thinks the same. Just a reminder of these changes. There's an extension of the neighbour notification and exhibition period to 21 days due to postal delays, particularly for our rural residents. This is anticipated to give a slight extension to the turnaround for these, the DAs that need to take part in this. However, we are finding that people aren't getting them in time to properly consider them and give feedback. And we've added a number of additional exemptions to the notification process, only where there is not a requested variation to council policy, and they include single-storey dwellings, single-storey alterations or additions to a dwelling, or ancillary residential developments such as sheds, carports, swimming pools, fences, farm buildings, and boundary adjustments. And again, this is only where it is a requested variation where there isn't a requested variation to our council policy. And it's hoped that this will both reduce the assessment timeframes for these minor developments that are compliant with our policy and reduce the cost of those applications, which previously included a neighbour fee of $129. It's also included is the removal of the requirement for formal newspaper public notices, but we are continuing to publish notices and DAs on our website for longer than required by the state government.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. Councillor Smith.
Councillor Watt is a very intelligent person because she said exactly what I was going to say. I'll simply add that there are a number of principles upon which this document is founded, and some that I think that are particularly important are that a community has the right to be informed about planning matters that affect it, and that information should be timely and should be in plain language and easily understandable. There are a number of other principles about inclusivity and so on, but those who would like to read this can certainly read them in that document.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Any further comment? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? And you need you to put up your hand. It's a development report. Oh, sorry. Do you want to write a reply? You were so eloquent the first time round. Thank you. Carried. So the next one is number 4.2, review of Council's Code of Planning practices and processing development applications policy. I've actually raised some things with Larissa about I don't think there is enough about the planning portal in this in the beginning and how the development applications are lodged. It does say submissions, but it doesn't actually say planning portal. So I'm actually proposing that we just note this report, and anyone who has any changes to this can email Larissa, and they will be in the final report at the meeting, at the general meeting. I do want to congratulate Larissa for doing that, but that's my recommendation, that we note the report. Still moving, we're moving that the note report. Yes.
Question.
I just want a seconder. If I could have a seconder. Oh, I'm just saying we note the report and ask Larissa to determine it at the council meeting with some changes
so
that
note the
I
report
like.
and refer it to the
And defer it
next
to the council.
meeting. Or,
Yeah.
Happy to second that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I'm just to speak to this is that there's been a couple of things that I noticed that we haven't actually eloquently put in here, that people actually have to come to, that they can come to the council, but they have to put it through the planning portal. I don't think we've stressed that enough, that the development applications all have to go through the, and Larissa is, we've gone through it and we've had a few discussions. So I think we need to just put a few more mentions of the planning portal in the beginning, where it just says submission rather than to the planning portal in New South Wales. There's not very many dramatic changes, but just to reaffirm the fact that it has to go through the planning portal. So that's my they're my changes. And if anyone else has any other changes, they would like to send them to Larissa. Seconder, Bill.
Yeah, quite happy to support the recommendation, Madam Mayor, but I'm very keen that it doesn't entail major changes. It just needs to stiffen a couple of comments on it, that's all. But it's a good document, and we should be supporting it if those minor changes are made.
Thank you. Further comment, Councillor Smith?
Yes, could I just ask the question that if we were to pass this tonight, would it still not have to go to the council meeting at the end of the month? So this makes absolutely no difference whatsoever?
No.
Okay, thank you.
It doesn't make any difference, just that I've got some change. I've just got a couple of additions, and I think if anyone else has a couple of, like to look at it and has some more additions, then they would be also adopted and brought to the council meeting.
Can I please have a clarification with the general manager on, we have the cooling off, no, that's the wrong word, caretaker period from the 16th of August. If it does go to the next council meeting, which is in the caretaking, can it still go out on public exhibition?
Absolutely. The regulations are very clear. There's really two things that a council may not do during the caretaker period: is accept a contract or enter into a contract for the receipt of expenditure of more than $150,000, or to adopt to approve a controversial, to consider a controversial development application, and then the criteria for a controversial development application is a designated development and one that has received 25 or more submissions. So outside of that, there is nothing legislatively preventing council from adopting anything.
Is anyone, Councillor Smith?
I had one question and a number of suggested amendments to the plan, which I think is a great one, and they're of a minor nature. But can I suggest that anyone who does have such amendments, such as yourself and myself, send them to everyone, because they're not necessarily going to be incorporated into the plan by the director, but they're there for discussion either tonight or in 2 weeks' time. Can I just ask one question through you, Madam Mayor, to the director? And maybe I didn't read this closely enough. I'm just wondering, is there anything in this that specifically says that applications for modifications must be determined by council if the original application came to council? Because I know that's the case, but I didn't see it in this.
No, there's nothing in this that says that. That is just echoed through our delegations.
So if I may
Keep going,
continue,
you're fine.
so we don't need to put that in the plan. It'll still be the case.
It will still be the case.
Thank you.
Anyone else further comments? Yes, Councillor Down.
So the way I read this was, this is council, the way the council deals with their processing and their determining of DAs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're wanting to add what about the community? Because we've already had discussions in this room about people changing things on the fly and not letting everyone know. So can you clarify exactly what you're talking about?
Just about to. On page 3, it says staff from Environmental Centre on the DA lodgement, 6.3. Staff from Environmental Services will check the application for completeness at time of submission, and I would like to put in there of submission to the New South Wales Planning Portal. There is no mention of the fact that DAs have to be lodged through the planning portal, and I've asked Larissa to check just to make sure that it actually identifies that the plans have to go through the planning portal. It just doesn't articulate that very clearly. So it's just a nuance, but it doesn't actually say anything about the planning portal. And that was the reason for changing it.
I'd echo what Councillor Smith has said, and could we have everyone's suggestions before we see this again?
That would be great.
Thank
If
you.
anyone has any further suggestions? Okay, I've just had my right of reply, so any further, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against, carried. So we're just noting that report and it will be further circulated and adopted for adoption at the council meeting. Okay. Development application 101, 101, 4.3. Somebody move. Councillor Smith, Councillor West. Councillor Smith.
Yes, this has come back to council only because it originally came to council, therefore it has to come back to us again. It's just a change of the sewerage line, and providing that the director's happy with it, I would think that it is a fait accompli. It's come back only because it originally came through here.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Councillor West.
Unless there's any other comments from our colleagues, it makes perfect sense. It's been a good pick-up, logical, and it's come back because it was a council decision to start with. But I think it just should go through. So I'll reserve any comment if anybody's raising objections or concerns.
Any further comments? Councillor Watt.
Thank you. Just briefly, I think it's important to note here that as through our council conversations about the West Cowra Sewer project, we know that technology in this space has advanced, and as is articulated here from the consultant, but as we also know from the great amount of reading we are doing about methods of sewerage, the gravity sewerage is highly likely to be a better suit for this area. Low pressure sewerage system is generally for different landscapes and different amounts of space. So I'd greatly support this, and we should consider how we have this articulated in our planning policies in the future if this is needed to come to us for review.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. Any further comments? Councillor Downing.
Yes, I would like to say that I'll support this DA. It has come back to us, but it's actually really nice to know that our infrastructure staff have been talking to the applicant, and this solution has been found, which will cost less for the applicant in the long run. So that's great that our departments are all working with applicants.
Thank you, Councillor Downing. Further comment? Right of reply, Councillor Smith. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Now, number 4.4, which is Section 355 Committee draft minutes from the Cowra Natural Resource Management Advisory Committee. Councillor Wright. Thank you, Councillor Wright. Councillor Watt. Thank you. Councillor Wright. Page 254. 254. 254.
We can see we had a meeting and we agreed to offer sponsorship to Lisa Blair to attend a presentation to school students last Friday the 9th in association with the Corridor Project and Clean Cowra or Cowra Clean. They were doing a workshop with her on the following day. They weren't involved in the actual presentation on Friday. It was purely the NRM committee hosting Lisa Blair. And I was pleasantly surprised we got more than I anticipated. She was engaged to speak about microplastics and a main topic. Renewable diesel was on the list, but I don't think we covered anything on that. Besides, she uses fish and chip oil to it's been filtered to power her diesel engine on the boat when she's sailing. It was about a bit over 120 odd infants, kids and children, I should say, in from year 5 and 6. and there's about 100 high school students, 9, 10, 11, and there was mostly from, well, they were all from Cowra High School, and there's half a dozen or so from homeschooling. The schools were organised by Phoebe Gower of the Corridor Project. Lisa spoke for an hour and 20 minutes or so, explaining but where we got more was she went through school. She's dyslexic. She's bullied. Didn't enjoy school much, but she continued on. Then finished her schooling and went to work on a job on a boat, cooking and cleaning on a tourist boat, and that developed a passion for sailing. And she decided to sail around the Antarctic Ocean. And when she got back, I think it was she'd done 2 complete circumferences. And the first one, she broke the women's time. Well, that only infuriated more. Why should a woman have a time and a man have a time? So she decided to do it again to beat the man's time. And the second time, she leveraged the scientific community, and she placed boys out in the ocean there to collect environmental information for one of the organisations, and also placed boys out there for the Bureau of Meteorology to get a better understanding of the storms in the Southern Ocean. And from her first trip, and an original trip when she was learning to sail long distances on a more than one person boat, they were surprised to see how much plastic is in the ocean, or debris, not just plastic. And with the second trip, with this, she was collecting water as she went, and being filtered. And in the worst place in the middle of the ocean where there's no land to be seen or anything, she had collected 357,000 small pieces of microplastic per Olympic-sized swimming pool. But that's often mostly just from the caps of drink bottles wearing down as alongside with other plastic degrading. And there's some 50-odd thousand fibres from man-made polyester and styrene and so forth breaking down, which is a slightly bigger fibre. It has to be less than 1 millimetre for the microplastics and 5 millimetre for just the normal plastics. And it just highlights where all our degraded rubbish ends up in the system, how currents can shift them off a long way away from where they started from. But she conveyed the problem she endured while on the boat by herself, the loneliness, trouble. She had the first attempt that didn't complete. She had a broken mask, had to find her. She sent out a Mayday thing, but it was going to be at least 3 days before someone got there, and she had to salvage the mask to get it back onto the boat so it wouldn't tip the boat over or that. And she got things done, and she actually come in contact with a oil tanker that transferred some diesel to her to get the engine going to get back to land. Regardless, she was, emotions are up and down. All her food's freeze dried. But she spoke about how her mental attitude went from really good to not very good, and how to solve a problem. She had a plan, but it didn't go as planned, then had to resolve it. And where it was good, there was children in the in the primary school group, asking her, how did you keep your mental health on a good level? Like, they were listening, they were engaged, and that's what surprised me the most. And she could answer those questions, and she asked them questions about what she said, the figures and that, and there was kids, and they were being answered. Like, it was very good, and it was the same again in the high school. They were engaged, so it was a workshop well worth it, and not just for the awareness of what our rubbish is, how it's moving about the rest of the world, but just about how you can, how someone that didn't go well at school can still be can strive and be a good contributor to society and enjoy life. And we had another meeting since then before this, but that to do more further planning for workshops. And we've had a couple of things online. One of our members, Jordan Gunn, I call him the Birdman, but he does numerous bird projects. He's going to South Dakota at the end of the month to speak at a conference over there on engagement with the community engagement, and he's working with the the thing down the Megalong Valley, Cassandra, you know, the forest type things, KBS, you should have wrote it down. Kyangra Boyd.
Canangra Boyd National Park.
And he's on that committee, and he's being, he's going out of South Dakota to speak at that, and he'll do a presentation when he gets back. We are hoping to run the Archie Bird again this year, and we're just going through how we can organise, take a bit of pressure off our staff member Cassandra Gaiety to help her get everything up and done, because when you're going onto a Facebook thing, it's not all that simple at times. And so we're slowly doing things. I think we're contributing, and I look forward that the incoming council will have an NRM committee to work with to continue it on. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. That sounds very good. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just briefly, a big congratulations to the NRM for supporting such a fantastic event, and really thank Councillor Wright for sharing that. I'm very sorry I wasn't able to attend. It sounds like a fantastic event. And just briefly, a question which you might be connected to what you touched on at the end there, but I note that Councillor Judy Smith presented to the committee about what's happening with the Tidy Towns Committee and ongoing RAFCA funding. Just wondering if we could have an update on that.
Yeah, we invited the esteemed Councillor Judy Smith to a meeting, and she gave us an update on on where RAFCA and Tidy Towns were, and it was agreed that we wouldn't have. The NRM committee itself is keen to work in some of this space, whether we keep the RAFCA award going. We'd like to see that keep going, but timelines means that it won't happen this year, and hope to get something happening next year, or whoever's on it. And so that's where we are with Tidy Towns. But I went to I shouldn't have went to the wine show Saturday night, should I?
You lose a few brain cells, mate.
I don't think I had many there to start with. I went to a land care event this week, and land care have now got 2 people working in our region, the Mid-Lachlan Land Care Group. Tracy Burke, who was there, who was there last year. She's an assistant to the name escapes me, but she's got a property at Darby's Falls, but lives down Megalong Valley, and they're getting things going with the land care, and they did recommend that Ken Hutchison's Friends of the Billy Goat Hill is a formed land care group, and I said, well, they might need to talk to our infrastructure people, environmental people, if they're going to do too much work there off their own bat. So, and Tidy Towns was sort of a land care group, and I'm hoping that we can develop some sort of, and those two people were interviewed today on the ABC radio, and they've indicated they're trying to get a group going in towns, and including Cowra, of people in the community exercising a land care type thing in their own backyard.
Thank you, Councillor Wright.
So that covers.
No, I think that probably covers it, Councillor Watts.
I
Okay.
can dig deeper if you like.
Yeah, well done.
The
Have-
committee did thank Councillor Judy Smith for the tireless effort in the Tidy Towns Committee, and understand why the decision's been made to cease operation for the present time.
Thank you. Councillor Watt, have you finished? Yes, thank you. Councillor West.
Just if I may, Madam Mayor, and seek a bit of indulgence, I guess, but I was intrigued by this microplastics component, and I happened for my sins to wake up early one morning recently and heard someone on ABC radio being interviewed about microplastics and the microplastics in the ocean, and the comment was that most of it's coming from washing machines. And it really intrigued me as to how that was happening, and this report clearly indicates that what this person presented was around what microplastics do, and it's about what we wear, it's about what we do. And I know the Australian wool industry is now talking about wear wool, not petrochemicals. And I think that we talk about the environment regularly, about what we're doing to the environment, what we should do. And I think sometimes we forget to look at what we can do very, very personally, very closely, and we want to lament on some of the agricultural industries, and we want to continue to, I guess, condemn the mining industry, yet we're happy to have synthetic clothes and synthetic carpets and lots of energy being burnt. And I think there's some areas here we should just understand where our contamination and environmental damage is coming from, and some of it's exactly what we're wearing. So it's just a throwaway line. I just take the opportunity
Thank you for your wisdom, Councillor West.
just as a broken down wool grower to proffer the benefit of wool as a renewable source of clothing, which does break down.
Thank you, Councillor West. Councillor Smith.
Yeah, two things. Whilst I'm with Councillor West and Councillor Wright's microplastics, I saw an article that said that Cowra's water supply has a negligible amount of microplastics in it, and I congratulate the staff on keeping us in that way. So well done all. The other thing was the director, myself, and Councillor Kiss accompanied Councillor Wright to the land care event the other day, and we examined a place at Westville where the salt water was just oozing up out of the ground, and it really brought home what a diverse culture we've got. And I would then note that we then went to Whitby's Wink and examined the town, and it was a lovely morning.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Any further comment on this report? No further comment. I'll write a reply.
I'll just add that, following on from Councillor West there, that Lisa Blair did comment that you can buy a filter for your washing machine. She also made the comment that wastewater systems in the town could have a filter applied to them, but the cost would be very expensive, and it'd be best to utilise one on your washing machine to start with.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. And no late reports, no notice of the motion. I will declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much. Councillor Smith has something.